Use it.
So I won't use the microphone. So I have questions prepared on my phone, and I'm only going to ask a couple, and then everyone else can ask questions. So how old were you when the war started for your family?
Well, for my family, the war really started in 1941. We were living in Belgrade, and in April of 41, the Germans came with their dive bombers, and they just destroyed Belgrade. My dad was a officer in the Yugoslav army, and my mom, my sister, and my uncle, and my grandmother, we were living in the house. The minute the bombing stopped, we got into the car, and we tried to drive out of Belgrade to go across the border to Sabatka, which was Subotica, which was back and forth on the border between Serbia and Hungary.
So what was your experience at Bergen-Belsen?
Well, my experience at Bergen-Belsen was interesting. It started with a little experience before. I just have to make a statement that on the train, we were sitting in cattle cars with no windows, 50, 60, 70, 80 people sitting together. And on the train, on the 5th of July, a woman goes into labor. And my dad delivers a little girl on the train using my shoelaces to tie the umbilical cord. And that young lady is alive today. She's a professor of cardiology at the University of New South Wales in Australia. So then we arrived to Bergen-Belsen, and unlike those kids, we were together. But we walked and walked and walked and walked until we arrived to our camp. We were very fortunate. We were not forced labor. We were not even supposed to be there. As the film said, we were supposed to go to Spain or to Palestine. We had visas from the English, but we didn't go. So in Bergen-Belsen, we had a pal, which would get up early in the morning, every morning, and counting, make sure everybody was there. The food was bad, little, atrocious. The thing is, we didn't have to work. We didn't have to go to school. The kids were allowed to play. And we did have one interesting thing, which I think was the only camp about it, that we were able to empty one of the barracks, which was the hospital barrack, on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We had a synagogue, and we had the high holidays there.
Okay. Did you have a birthday in camp? And if so, what was it like?
Yes, as a matter of fact, in September was my 7th birthday, and my dad and mom did not eat bread for 5 days. They saved 7 slices, and out of that they made me what was called a birthday cake.
Okay. How did it feel in camp since you were part of the Cosner group and weren't really supposed to be there?
Pardon me?
How did it feel while you were there since you weren't really supposed to be there?
Well, you know, it felt bad, but it didn't feel so bad because we really didn't realize we were in a concentration camp. I mean, as a kid, a 7-year-old kid, we were Zionists, most of us, a few rich people who left in August already, and there were 50 orphans among these 2 boys who were from Poland. But we learned, Asa Aleinu, we're going to Israel, we learned how to speak a little bit, sing Hebrew lessons, dance the Horah, and learn about farming and things like that, because we were supposed to be going to Palestine.
When you got to Switzerland, what was it like since the war was still going on?
Well, first of all, as I said, at the end of December, we had the celebrating the food. We didn't know why, and we got some food, and then all of a sudden we got on a train and we went to Switzerland. We got the border, we changed trains, and interestingly enough, the Swiss helmets are very similar to the German helmets. And all of a sudden, these Nazis were giving us chocolate. We couldn't understand why. We were in Switzerland for a couple of days in the German part of Switzerland, and then we went to a place called Caux, which they showed, which is in mountains above Montreux, the Canton Vaud, V-O-U-D. And it is the headquarters of Moral Rearmament. It was magnificent, it was glorious. There was nobody in Switzerland on vacation during the war. So we had nice places to live, and we stayed there while the war was still on. And after the war was over, we moved to a different place.
So now, anyone else who has questions, those are all my questions. Anyone else has questions, it's open.
Yes.
Theo?
Okay, when you were in Bergen-Belsen, like, there were other people there. What was their attitude towards you?
Well, there were different groups. We were in a group, all these groups of the Hungarians, and then on one side, another side was in the camp were the Dutch Jews, another side there were Russians. And so the people in the camp, we were together, we were the same people, we were Hungarians, we were Zionists, so we were okay, we were fine. The people, unfortunately, on the other camps, we see that they get beaten up, they had forced labor, so it was terrible for them. But for us, it wasn't bad for the children, except there was no food. Yes.
Kimmy?
When for your birthday, your 7th birthday, when you said your parents didn't eat the bread for 5 days, like, was that when you were there, was that your main source of food? Like, how was it,
There was food distributed every single day. Yeah, we ate every day, but there was very, very little food. And you would be given like a loaf of bread that was supposed to be good enough for 7 to 10 days for 2 people, small. So by the 6th day, you had almost nothing. So what they did was that they did not eat their bread, and they starved a little bit so that I would have that thing for my birthday.
Elliot?
did you know the 2 brothers mentioned in the movie?
Did you know the brothers?
I did not know about these brothers, no, I did not know. I mean, we were about 1,800 people there.
Yeah.
And I knew very, very few people.
What could you tell us about the Kastner train?
About what?
The Kastner train.
Well, the Kastner train, first of all, the train we're not supposed to go to Bergen-Belsen. We were supposed to go to Palestine or Spain or through Spain because we had visas from the British government. The train was cattle cars. We had very little food. The sanitation was terrible. And when we crossed the border to Austria, we were stranded there for 3 days. We didn't know where we were going. The unfortunate one thing we heard say we were going to Auschwitz. Not Auschwitz, Auschwitz. But people didn't know what the difference was if they were going to Auschwitz. We were there, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, they decided to turn the train around, and we went to Germany, to Bergen-Belsen. There was nothing. We just couldn't get off the train. We had little food, not much food, but it was bearable.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit what was the connection, how did your family got to the Kastner train?
Oh,
What
the
was
reason we got to the
process?
Kastner, well, we lived after we left Belgrade, we went to Subotica or Savatka. My father, and by the way, my wife was in the concentration camp with it also. My father and my father-in-law both were very big Zionists. And originally, this was a group that Kastner put together with the Zionists who were going to go to Palestine. Pardon me? Yeah, well, he was dealing with Eichmann, yeah.
So you knew Kastner?
Pardon me?
Your family knew Kastner?
Well, of course, everybody knew Kastner, but they weren't buddies, but they knew him. I mean, Kastner was really not the person who was supposed to be negotiating. The man who was supposed to be negotiating was supposed to go to Turkey to make an arrangement, a meeting, and he was sold out and sent to Syria as a prisoner. So then all of a sudden, Kastner became the man who negotiated. Yes,
Did you belong to a Zionist group as a youth?
pardon me?
Did you belong to a Zionist group as a youth?
No, I did not. I did not. I was 7-year-old, 7-year-old kid.
Okay.
Yes,
Were you and your wife in the same concentration camp?
yes.
And that's how you met, and so how did you both end up here?
No. What happened was that my father-in-law and mother-in-law, decided to go back to Europe, to Serbia, Hungary, for the relatives. My dad said, I I love Tito, he's a wonderful guy. However, I am not a communist, and I'm not going back to a communist place. Fortunately, somebody that my father knew saw the name on the list, sent a check, and he said, if this is my friend Imre Berger, he will recognize my signature and get in touch with me. Sure enough, recognized, got in touch, 225 Broadway, there was a bank, and he sent a visa, and we were able to come to the United States. Now, fast forward, my father dies, and I go to Israel with my mom. And we're driving in Haifa, and I say, wait a second, I know that couple. And my mom says, of course, that's the Vidri cycle. Beep, beep, honk the horn, sure enough, come on in, have a cup of coffee or something. We're sitting there, I see this gorgeous, gorgeous young lady in a bikini. I said, who is that? The rest is history.
Any other questions before we close up?
Yes.
So, do we have to say
Can't hear you.
Did you know, I know you said how you got to America, it's two little questions. Did you know you were going to America, or were you prepared to go to another place?
No, we didn't. As a matter of fact, we were on the Yugoslav quota. Yugoslav quota was very, very small, and we were learning Spanish. We were supposed to go to Bolivia. Then we got this letter, and for this letter, these three brothers, they had connections, and they organized it. One was working for FDR, the other one was an insurance man, and the third one worked for RKO. And they were able to get us to get onto the visa to come to the United States, as my father was a physician.
And also, on your way to America, was it like, did you face any hardships on the
None
boat?
whatsoever. The way to America, when we left Switzerland, nothing. We went to England. From England, we got on a boat, and in 8 days we came across. I was a little seasick. 8 days we came across this boat. We thought it was the biggest thing in the world. We pulled up next to Queen Mary, and we were like a little tugboat compared to it. Yes.
What year did you come to America?
Pardon me?
What year did you come to the United States?
1947. We lived in Switzerland from December of 44 until June of 1947. And after the war, the Swiss were really nice to us. My first school I went to was a French-speaking school in Switzerland. We walked to school every day, and we lived just like all the regular Swiss kids. Yes.
Randy?
You tell the story about being in the camps, and you say that you were very fortunate compared to what other people were going through and some of the stories that we've learned. As a 7-year-old, you didn't know that was all maybe going on. How did your family, how did your parents keep you from knowing that? How did they behave and help you?
Like I say, as I said before, we were not supposed to go to Bergen-Belsen. We were going to Palestine. And Bergen-Belsen, even though they had some areas which were not as good as us, Bergen-Belsen was not a death camp. People were there mainly to be traded. The Germans were captured here and captured there, the other thing. So, of all the concentration camps, Bergen-Belsen was, near the end, when it was terrible, everybody died of typhoid and fever, there was no food. But when we were there, it was still okay.
Yeah.
The leverage that Kastner had to negotiate with Eichmann.
10,000 winterized trucks for 1 million lives. That's what he wanted. The Germans were in deep problem in Russia, and they had to get their troops out, and nowhere to get them out. So he was going to negotiate a trade for 1 million Hungarian-speaking Jews walking around, as you saw in the film, free until March of 1944, when millions had already been killed, walking around free. And he was negotiating for these people. There was 1 million lives for 10,000 winterized trucks. And of course, they started talking this and that and the other thing, and money, and didn't come through, of course. Yes?
You were not separated from your family, from your parents.
Not in Bergen-Belsen, no. No, we were together. I was in the same bunk with my sister and my mother. My dad was in the men's bunk.
what some people are more curious about is your sort of daily life when you were in Bergen-Belsen. And I understand that you didn't see or know what was going on elsewhere, but how were your parents reacting to living in a concentration camp? You're still in a camp, you're still not where you want to be.
Well,
Like, how can they make you feel safe and
I've had
happy?
a unique life all of my life. Everything is unique. We were there, we were 1,800 people. So they had a barrack, which was a hospital barrack. They pick a pediatrician from Yugoslavia to be the head of the hospital. So my dad was working as a physician all day long. So to him, whether it was going on, he was working like it was you know. My mom, she was a very, very sharp lady. She had a tiny little lipstick, and she put the lipstick on. Made herself, you know, she tried to live as if everything was okay. The only difference was you had to get up early in the morning, sit up in rows of fives for an appel roll call to make sure that everybody was there. Otherwise, our lives were okay for the kids, but for adults it was boring. No food, and nothing to do, except for my dad who was working. Yes, Laura?
You talked about the talk on the train about it being going to Auschwitz and wondering if that was like the same as Auschwitz. To what degree was it sounds like you're implying that people knew what Auschwitz meant at that time. Is that right?
Not all. A couple of people knew. Most people did not know. We were living in a. I mean, could you imagine? We were walking around like nothing happened. In March of 1944, we're going to stores, we're going to movies, we're going to buy shopping, we're going swimming. Nothing. And really, we did not think about it. We did not know. At least I didn't know, and we was never.
Before you left Budapest?
Pardon me?
Even before you left Hungary?
Even before we left. Yes.
From the time that the Nazis came in and occupied to the time that you got on the Kostner train,
450,000 people were taken to Auschwitz and killed.
and how long was that? And what was that like for you?
Well,
With wearing
what
a
happened was
star
we
and
didn't have a
having to-
ghetto where we were locked in. There were areas that were designated for Jews to live, and we had to live. I was not 7 yet, so I did not have to wear a star. So, and I didn't particularly look Jewish, so I was playing with the regular kids, the non-Jewish kids in the street and everything. So to me, you know, until the end, everything was okay. The bad thing was, every night we had to go to the bunkers downtown because bombing, they were bombing and bombing and bombing. And then later on, all of a sudden, things got a little queasy. They took my father away to labor camp, and so, yes.
Can you tell us the apple story?
Oh, yes, yes. My dad was a physician, as I told you, my dad was a physician, and he had done his studying in Berlin and in couple other places in Germany. And one day, one of the guards looks at him, Dr. Berger. He says, yes, you saved my son. He had tuberculosis. So he gave my dad an apple, which he shared with me, my sister, and my mom. So I was, I think, the only kid who ever had a fresh fruit in concentration camp. Yes.
So your parents, yourself, and your sister were on the train, but did any of your family member, like grandparents, uncles, did anyone survive?
They went to Auschwitz.
Nobody.
But they survived, my two grandmothers, and what happened, they came, and they came to the same camp where we were, and we had written on the beds, we let go safe, Switzerland. So my father's mom said, I can die now, safe. My mother's mom survived, went back to Yugoslavia, and in 1948, when Tito let the Jews go to Palestine, go to Israel, they went to Israel.
So did you see her? Did you see her?
I did not, we spoke on the telephone, but I did not see her, I did not see my grandmother.
But just understand how crazy that his grandmother was in Auschwitz and somehow got like funneled through to Bergen-Belsen and ended up in the same exact barrack, lying in the same exact bed, seeing that it said like the burgers were here, we're fine. I mean,
Oh, wow.
crazy, crazy.
Yes,
There's a moment in the film where the two brothers it's when they're drinking and having a beer, and it seems clear that one of the brothers chose to not really talk about his experiences during the war, and that this experience with the film was the first time he was really talking about his story, while the other brother chose to be more of a writer and take more of a storytelling. Was there a moment in your life, maybe when you became a father, where you made an active choice to have your story told, or did it just kind of feel organic for you? Like, was it something you contemplated and made this decision, and if so, how did you make that decision?
I always thought about it, and I never hid it. I always told everybody that I was a concentration camp refugee, that I was an immigrant. I came here in 1947, and so it was never hidden. I was interviewed in 1996, and there's a video, a 1 hour, 41-minute video that I was interviewed about my life. And, it's
By the
available.
Shoah Foundation.
The Shoah Foundation, it's on Joseph Berger on YouTube. I don't make any money on it. Yes.
So this is actually a question for Noah, if you're comfortable with this. But in your words, how would you explain in a short way the Holocaust? Like, if you were gonna explain this to your friend or to somebody younger, to keep these stories alive, but in an appropriate way?
Actually, today in school, I had a presentation in my elective World War II about the Holocaust, so it's right on my mind. I explain it as a time when Jews were discriminated against on a larger scale, and it was a mass genocide, and tons of people were killed, and there were different ways to kill the Jews that the Nazis used, like shooting lines, gas chambers. But it was a terrible time, and some people survived.
Anybody else? Thank you.